Hello, my wonderful friends. So good to be with you again. I'm Rachel Archelaus. I'm here with the amazing Carrie Roldan.
Hey guys.
And I'm glad to see you are here too. If you want to let us know that you're here, put your info in the chat. We'd love to say hi to you. And we're going to talk about something that Carrie brought up. Might be a little triggering today. I know I made a really snarky title for today as well, which I don't usually do, but I thought it would provide a basis for a really good discussion. And if you get my emails, you'll understand where I'm coming from today. If you don't get our emails, go to intuitiveart.com, sign up for our free class, and you'll get our emails and invited to this and the insider scoop on everything that's going on. You'd also get a free intuitive art class if you've never had it before. Totally worth it. Carrie just answered some of her big questions today with intuitive art.
Yeah, it was amazing. So I'll just tell you, this is not what we're talking about today, but I will just tell you, I was feeling anxious and stressed and a little bit out of my body. And I had a conversation with Rachel earlier today where I was like, oh, I've been feeling this for a while, where the way I describe it is kind of like swirling, like just a lot going on. And I'm swirling in it and I'm trying to find myself in all of it. And I was like, I don't know. I was verbally processing, and then I was like, oh, I could just do a drawing. And I did 2 drawings, and just in the past few minutes, and I got to tell you, I'm a whole different person, right? It is so great to feel relaxed and grounded and like you have what you need right in front of you. And intuitive art does that every single time. So the plug for intuitive art and the free intuitive art class, not just so that you can keep up to date on what we're doing, but because it's such a valuable tool that you can use whenever you're feeling like that, or whenever you just have a question that you would like to get answers from your higher self.
Definitely. Yeah, I've got my stuff right here. And by the way, we're having a holiday party later. It's open to the public, as weird as that sounds for an online event, but come, it's going to be amazing fun. You can find the link on social media or in the email I sent today. So come, it's going to be great. You're going to see Rachel as her unicorn self. So we're dressing up. Awesome. Julie, good to see you. She just got her pastels and sketchbook ready to go. Corinne, hello. Hi, Guillaume. This is a curious topic. So why don't we get into it? The fact, the position, the idea that you can't change the world. And I'm coming at this from the stance of change being save, or even change being change, like you seeing something wrong that you want to have a positive effect on. Yeah. Oh, I thought Guillaume was saying woo woo for a second, because I was going to get woo woo with y'all, but he said woo hoo, which is great. Yes, the party is going to be woo hoo. But I made a little diagram for you guys because it's all about a very subtle difference. So let's say you're here and you have a resource, whether that's your perspective, an actual book, like a way to help people. You are here with something that can make others' lives better, or the planet's life better. And you look out into the world and you're like, wow, there's so many people who could benefit from what I have to offer. There are ways that I could make this place better. So you're seeing the lack of what you have, the lack of your clarity, the lack of your resource. And you're like, if I could just sync up with these people would come up here with me and we would have this figured out. Everything would be better. So here you are, wanting to help, wanting to make the world a better place. You're seeing that you could make these people better, help them out. And so your attention is here. Your attention is down there where there is no resource that you have. So you're already setting yourself up for a disappointment in the energetic space, because wherever your attention is what grows. So if you keep your attention where there's a lack of what you've got, a lack of that help, you're just going to see, oh, wow, I didn't realize there's so many people who need my help. There's all these people. There's the whole planet. There's the whole community. Millions of people don't have this thing that I have. Oh my God, I need to help all of them. Right? Or like you find one piece of trash on the beach and then you realize, oh my God, there's a sea of trash on the ocean. Right? So this is what will grow if your focus is on the people who need your help. You're not going to get very far because these people are down here for a reason. They can't afford this help, or they don't want this help, or they don't understand that this help will help them. Or there's so many reasons, excuses, so many things that these people will tell you that, oh, you can't help me, or I can't afford you, or whatever. There's going to be tension here because you're not on the same playing field energetically. And that's okay. Because how this really could work, how you could deliver your resource to other people and help people, is that they climb up the ladder to meet you, right? So many times teachers go down to meet their students and commiserate and acknowledge and understand where they are. And suddenly they don't feel so good. Those teachers get overworked and they over deliver and they're burnt out. And haven't you ever met a healer or a teacher like that? I definitely have, and I've been there. So the key to actually helping people or the planet or whatever is you staying where your resources, you staying where your clarity is, you staying where your happy high vibe is. And then just being a beacon energetically for these people who recognize that you can help them and come up to meet you. And that does happen, let me tell you. So no need to focus on the people who need your help. You focus where you are. You make your resource better by proxy of that, just naturally. And then there will be people who come up to meet you and will engage in your work. Is that too complicated?
Well, not for me. And I am wanting you guys to post in the chat. Let us know if that triggers you, how you feel about it. Like, I have got, an arsenal of arguments, right? From years of one, being a teacher, being a coach, being a marketer, being all of this stuff, right? What Rachel just said. What comes up for me oftentimes is a great big yeah, but. Like, yeah, oh, I know, but. And then there's like this, and Rachel just, by the way, she told me earlier today that I had a big butt. So, so yeah, right. A lot of us, like, we want to be the beacon, and we believe that in order to be the beacon, we have to find the people who need the light, right? We have to, like, if we're going to be this high vibe thing that everybody, right? Like, I need a tangible example. So let's assume I am an energy healer, right? Like, in order to be an energy healer, like, naturally we're like, well, I better look for people who need healing, right? Like, there's that. And like, I got to be a beacon for people who need healing, but I need to know where they are. I need to know what they're thinking. I need to know. And that makes logical sense, right? And yet the truth feels differently, right? And the truth, and what Rachel and I are constantly talking about is being in the energy. Oh, I'm going to yawn already, Rachel. Sorry. Is that actually we don't have to go find them. We don't have to go find them. We already know maybe where they are, what they're thinking, but it's not our job to speak their language. It's our job to speak our truth. And as they are opening, as they are like recognizing what they need, they will rise to find you. And in my life and experience, I have made that road difficult for myself at times, but ultimately, like it, I mean, I don't know, those of you watching and listening, like, does it sink in? Are you feeling it? And I see Corinne is saying yes. Yeah, you can't save people. We can't. We can't save them with any amount of knowledge or expertise. We can't fix them with any amount of knowledge or expertise or skill, right? They have to be ready, right? They have to be ready.
And the part that I love the most is that looking down here and thinking that they need help is a judgment. It's a judgment against the fact that everyone is a divine being and everyone has a connection to source and everyone has the resources that they need available to them and everyone's on a different path. And maybe your solution isn't what they want right now. Maybe they want to be where they are right now. Maybe that's why they came here on earth. Like, not everyone's here for the same journey. Not everyone is here for enlightenment. Not everyone is here to have a happy life. I mean, we would like to think that, but there's no judgment at all on the higher levels. And so you can live whatever life you want. It's equal to source, right? It's equal. So, you know, this was so hard for me back in the day. I don't know when this hit me. I don't remember when I really internalized this, that you can help people, but only when they're ready to be helped and only when they come to you, right? Otherwise, they can't hear you. So I was like, in a helping business, what do I do now? What is the point? Can I have a business that is set out to help people? I went through a huge identity crisis around that. And I basically stopped marketing for a long time. I felt ashamed almost. Like, people always told me I was an excellent marketer and I'm so good at this. And then all of a sudden I was like, oh my God, am I doing something wrong? Most people don't want to market because they think they're doing something wrong in the first place. I kind of came at it. I was like, beginner luck, did a great job. And then I was like, oh my God, is this bad? And it was a couple of years of really sinking into that and figuring out well, I intrinsically love doing what I do. I will do intuitive art regardless of whether it's a business. I will do these kinds of chats, whether it's a business or not. And so I kind of dismantled the idea that I was doing it to help people, and I reassembled doing it for me. And that's really what made a huge difference in my life. It's where I got comfortable again having a business. It's where I became that beacon that we're talking about, where I'm here living my life for me. Yeah, I still have resources because I have them. Everyone does. Everyone is a resource in some way. And I just let myself radiate out. I don't have an ideal customer or client. Whoever comes to me is perfect in the moment. It always is. And then, sometimes maybe I fall down and I look around for people who want help, and I'm in it with them, and it doesn't feel good. And that's when I come back up and I just focus on myself. What feels good to me? Because that overflow of me feeling excellent is what really has that light effect that calls people up who are wanting what I have. That's how we make the connection.
So I know you guys know this, and a few things have come up for me. So when Julie says she can't seem to respond, I'm not sure if that was let me know what that means, Julie, because then I don't understand the next thing. And I'm super curious about that can't seem to respond. Is that just letting things sink in? But I wrote down some words that you said, Rachel. So one, I just want to say that this is not what I wrote down. We just had this, Rachel and I were talking earlier, and I was like, yeah, so we're going to have this conversation about how like you can't change the world, can't help anyone. So just crawl under a rock. Right. Like, but you mentioned intrinsic love and ease and working from the overflow. And you didn't use this word, but what the word that came to me was convincing, right? And you talked about, by the way, I think you blew some minds when you talked about if you think people like need what you have, you're judging them, right? Recognizing that. And it's like, oh man, I do that. I do that. I judge people. And I just think right now, at least today on my Facebook feed, there is a lot of people convincing, right? A lot of people trying to convince me that I need what they have or that I need to see things their way. And none of that makes me want to join them. None of that makes me want to look into what it is that they've got going on. No amount of like, I remember I used to get emails sometimes and they would say like, your marketing sucks. And that was like their headline to like get me in there. Or sometimes this hasn't happened in a long time, but people would send me an email saying like, hey, I took a look at your website and here's what's wrong with it. And if you pay me, I'll fix it. None of that, like that convincing energy makes anybody want to like, I mean, I don't know, like maybe it worked for a few people, but it didn't work for me. But living your life, being amazing, doing things because you love them. Not only does it feel good for you, but it does attract the right people to you. Like, I know this didn't start out as like an attraction marketing conversation, but that's what it is. So whatever it is that you have to offer, just being in the loving of it, being in the, like, one of the things that I hope this is heading in the right direction. I'm just going to tell you. So in business, people will tell you like, you need to track your key performance indicators. You need to track the things that like, do they move your business forward? And I recognize that one of my key performance indicators is just, did I live in my gifts today? So where some people are like, how many offers did I make? What did I like? Mine is like, did I live in my gifts? Which just means like, did I do something that filled me up? Did I do something that felt good just for the joy of doing it because I love it? Or did I say something that like felt good? Did I living in my gifts, giving compliments, gifts, right? Affirming other people, gift of mine. So like, did I do that today? Well, that feels amazing. Well, guess what? That's the stuff that brings people to me. It's not the telling them how I can help them. It's telling them how they're amazing they are, or what's going right for them, or what, right? Because that's me living in my gift. So I am on a tangent, as always. Tangents are a huge gift of mine. But I wanted to hit on that convincing energy. Like if you find yourself in convincing, you've gone down to that, right? You've gone down. Your job in everything is to be full of yourself, to be full of your amazing you, to be living up here in the high vibe, right? In what makes you feel good. And when you do that, you're a beacon. And you do have gifts. You do have knowledge. You do have expertise. And sharing that feels good. And so the people who want to hear about it, to want to know more about it, right? Like some of you I know have real tangible gifts, like things that I can do that really will help people. But all it really takes is just being me. People come. So be you. You don't have to look for who needs your help.
Yeah. I want to talk about how sometimes it seems like the perceived standard model works. Like sometimes it seems like there's this fabulous person here and they're just the hordes, the streams of people, of clients, of purchases are coming in, and maybe they are doing some, marketing that seems like, you know, convincing or schmarmy or whatever. And you're looking at that and you're like, gosh, but it works so well for so many people. They're making millions of dollars doing that. And I want to just talk about this judgment piece some more, because Carrie and I are always guiding ourselves and these conversations to a place of real fulfillment and happiness. We're not just talking about how to get one result, which is like money, let's say. And this works totally with what Dina is saying. If we're doing what we need for ourselves, we won't burn out. Carrie and I know a lot of these, guru type people who get a lot of clients and millions of dollars and everything. And that can be a great experience, right? That could be the reason why they came here. They wanted that experience of the money flooding in, right? But most of the ones that I know, that wasn't where their fulfillment came from. That came with stress. That came with hair loss. That came with not being able to manage their lives in a meaningful way. That came with burnout. That came with a wake-up call of exhaustion or hospitalization or all of the above, and ultimately deciding they needed to do things really differently to be happy, because they did it that way and they realized, yes, the money is there, perhaps, if there's stuff left after paying expenses, but then where are they in their lives? And of course there are people who have lots of clients and make lots of money who are happy, but usually that takes a lot of being in themselves and not going down here, right? So the ones we're talking about are the ones you probably have seen around the block, like we have. And I just want you to know, from the backside of that, personally talking to lots of these kinds of people, it doesn't last, and it doesn't last because it's not fun. And I would rather be an example of having all of your happiness, all of your fulfillment, including the financial success, all the time, and growing in that way. Like I don't want just money. I want happiness and free time and creativity and friendship and connection and intimacy and nature. And I want the money too. I want all of it at the same time. So the reason we focus on this vibration first isn't because you can't get money some other way. Sure, maybe you can. The convincing works because the convincing convinces these people to be desperate, to spend money they don't have, to join programs they're not ready for, to overextend themselves, to convince them that if they don't change now, they're never going to change. And that doesn't feel good to me, because I know that's not true. And so you will see examples of success doing it that way. But if you really look harder, their success doesn't feel good to them usually. You know what I mean?
Oh my gosh. Well, so one, yes. And it has been, Rachel and I have had so much fun having some full circle moments where, like, people who we were following initially, like trying to learn how they were doing their business or whatever, then have become our clients because they're like, oh, I mastered this convincing thing. And I mastered this making a bunch of money thing, but I actually want more. I want all of it. Or they get to the place, right, where they're like, I did it this way. I'm proud of what I did. And now I'm ready to do something else. We talked about this a couple weeks ago about how a guru convinced someone we knew to, like, create money instead of alignment. and how that was totally part of her journey. But it all led to where she wanted to go, which was alignment, right? So in this space of non-judgment, right, we're recognizing like, hey, that's where they are and that's where they were, and this is where we are. Like, our intention is to be the beacon of gosh, because it's going to sound cheesy, but like, you can have it all. Because here's the thing, it all means different things to all of us. So really what we're talking about is you can have what you want by being you. And that's actually, Rachel, when I saw the topic and before I read your email, I actually read the email. I was like, so much time today. When it said you can't change the world, I was like, well, yeah, you can. This will be an interesting conversation. Of course you can change the world. It's just not the way that you think, right? We think we have to change the world by creating a foundation or a charity or like an ocean cleanup project and no shade. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. For some people, that is their thing. But it is about, you change the world by being your fully embodied self. And this took me a long time to really receive about myself, and I'm still receiving it. Rachel just reminded me today, Carrie, look what is happening around you. Who is in the center of that? Oh, right. It was like recognition, like all of these amazing things that are happening to people who are connected to you. You are a part of that. You are changing the world, right? In that way. But I'm changing the world through being me, through living in my gifts, through being aligned, through being high vibe, right? I am changing the world not by trying to change the world, not even by trying to change the people around me. I'm changing the world by being myself. And it's the butterfly effect, right? I'm changing the world by being in alignment. And then there's a ripple that happens all around you. And we're talking about like the right people find you, and from a business and a making money perspective, all of that is true. But from like an even wider lens, right? We're all changing the world with every interaction that we have. But trying to change the world is way less effective. Allowing world-changing opportunities to come to you, right? Like, that shit happens. That shit happens. I'm changing the world right now by the work I'm doing with high school cross-country runners. Not because I'm setting out to change the world through working with cross-country runners. Like, can you feel the distinction? Like, I'm doing what I'm doing because I'm living in my gifts and I'm feeling good and I am in alignment. And when you are in alignment, at least me, when I'm in alignment, man, I channel all the good stuff. Stuff comes flying out of my mouth that I'm not taking credit for, right? Because if someone says, wait, say that again, I'm like, wait, say what? Right? So I just really want you all to hear that. Like, we don't want you to actually crawl under a rock and believe that you don't have a purpose and like you can't change the world, so why even try? Like, we're not talking about that. But it's the like, don't set out to change the world. Set out to be your awesome, amazing, high vibe, feel good self. And your world will change.
I gotta bring it back to Willy Wonka right now, because that's exactly what that quote means to me. So in the email, I said, there's a quote from the Pure Imagination song when they go into the imagination room where everything is edible. And Willy Wonka says, want to change the world? There's nothing to it. And that's how it feels when you are focused on you, right? Like in the movie, he created this incredible factory. He does things his way. He's helping out these foreign indigenous peoples from somewhere else. And, he's got this great room where everything's edible. Like his dreams have come true. And here it is, changing the world, affecting the world, right? Like, But he didn't do that for that end. He did that for himself. He did that to realize his own dreams. And that's why it's effortless to change the world, because you are doing what is in your highest alignment, where there's most energy, the most leverage, and it feels the best because you're actually channeling more of yourself in this life. And to that point, I wrote a pilot based on my experience as a teenager, being psychic, living in a haunted house. I always knew that that would be a great show or a great movie or whatever, a great book, mostly because it was so intense for me. I still really don't know what to make of it. I have no idea really, like, what actually happened there. And it's an interesting thing for me to play around with. And the writing of it was so and magical and intense, and like it felt like electricity was running through my body whenever I would write it. And I don't ever get that feeling doing anything else. It's totally unique to that project. And at the same time, there's nothing exactly like this on the air. And there are a lot of people who had a situation similar to me growing up. And we don't get to see that. And if this gets on the air and other people get to see this, it does change the world. It does give the world a reference point for people like me who exist all over the place. It will help to make, being a multidimensional psychic person more recognized and normalized. And so you doing you, whatever that means to you, it does have a huge effect, like Carrie's talking about. But that's not why we do it. And that's not even, you don't even need to know that necessarily, but know it because it's true. You being you has the greatest impact on the world that you could ever offer.
I think it's nice to know. I think it's empowering. And I think it helps us do what we always tell people to do, which is relax. Like, you can relax and know, because a lot of us feel like, I used to describe this feeling as like busting at the seams with potential. Like, I am meant for something big. I am meant for something amazing. I feel the energy of myself and I need to do powerful work in the world. And like, I'm playing too small and I need to go Oprah and like all of that. Like, I felt that all the time and it kept me there. Right. And so I think that just knowing like you're a world changer and you can't change the world like that, like knowing that, oh man, it helps you like relax. It helps, like each of us, like, yes, Guillaume, yes. Change your inner world and your outer world would change. I wanted to talk about something else. So I know I was like on a tangent and then boom, I'm back. But I want to talk about something else, Rachel, which is, okay, yes, we're hearing this. Just be your amazing self, right? Live in alignment. Say yes to what feels good. And your world will change. And you will change the world without trying to change the world, right? That's amazing. Super relaxing. Feels great. I love living this way. I really do. I love living this way. And I often forget, like I did this morning. I called Rachel, like, right? Like, I love living this way. And I still have to remember to live this way. And what about companies that are changing the world? What about, like, the way that we're spending our money now and the way that we are, like, what about this like world changing stuff that is happening all around us? So you don't have the power to change the world, except for that, don't I? Don't I have the power to change the world with where I choose to spend my money? Right? Like with companies that have purpose and all that stuff. Like, that's coming up for me in terms of, because I know, like, we have a lot of people who watch us who either have their own businesses or thinking about starting their own business. And like, I know my brother started a business a couple of years ago and he was like, well, now a business has to have a cause. And so they kind of picked a cause, like, but anyways, that business wound up not working out. But it's just like recognizing, like, okay, so I'll just choose a cause and attach my business to it.
So, right, it's just like the example that we gave about, the guru making lots of money. Like, let's just take sustainable packaging and makeup, right? Because I watch a lot of makeup content. And a lot of brands now are making the containers cardboard so that it can be recycled, and tin little things that can be recycled, right? But we don't know the other 99% of that business. We don't know if everything's coming over in shipping containers. We don't know if anything is being recycled. We don't know if those ingredients are being mined with like child labor. We don't know the whole story. And like maybe that company is completely living its values and everything is beautiful and what you want. But I think that's really the difference. Like Carrie used to talk a lot about living your values. And that's really what this comes down to, is like we make an impact when we are being authentic and not when we are trying. When we're trying, things can backfire. If you're trying to be on a diet, what's going to happen? You're probably going to binge on something and have a big cheat day, right? Like, it's not sustainable when we're trying, when we're using our willpower alone to do something, when we're just attaching a cause because we think we'll sell more, if that's the way to go. Well, maybe the business isn't going to work, right? So finding a way to live your values. If your values are to not produce a lot of waste for landfills, then finding ways to do that, that's going to feel good to you, and so you're going to want to keep doing it. But if you don't care about plastic, let's say, but you do care about I don't know, chemicals, and you don't buy any chemicals, like you're having a contribution right there. And so yeah, you're producing plastic, but you are making a contribution in another area. I think that we tend to think in like all or nothing ways, while also thinking that the planet is doomed and people are doomed and people are stupid. Like, I just hear a lot of negativity all around from different sources. No one that I am personally close with thinks that people are stupid, but I hear it. So that takes us out of here, right? Like, if everything's doomed, we have sad face. Well, we're not going to be able to help anybody or anything. So if like you are Mr. Beast and Mark Rober online on YouTube, pledging to clear 30 million pounds of waste from the ocean, well, what are they doing and how are they doing it? They're living in their strengths because they're making content about it on YouTube, which is what they do. They've put resources behind these big things, which is what they love to do. Mark Rober, he's the glitter bomb guy. He is like working with this robotic trash machine in the seas, which is what he would love to do. Like, they are living in their strengths and their values and their authentic alignment, which is why that is working so well. So, of course, there are ways that you can help and contribute and make impact. Just make sure that it actually does align with you, and then it's not going to have a negative consequence.
Which is leading me down a slightly different path. I'm not sure that it exactly goes with you can't change the world, but can we talk about the should for a minute? So thank you for reminding me that, yeah, I used to always tell people that they need to live in their values and like live their priorities, because I was like, oh, that's genius. That's amazing, Rachel. Yes, right? It's recognizing like we don't have to live other people's values. And man, is there a lot of shoulding, and that goes into convincing, right? This like, at least where I live in Southern California, and I think everywhere people are judgy, right? But there's like, so there's a lot of shoulds about, well, you, or shouldn'ts more likely, right? Oh, you shouldn't buy that. They do whatever. Or, oh, you should only buy organic, or you should, right? There's just a lot of like stuff about that. And I love what you said about like living your values, because the truth is like I care about a lot. And if I try and care about everything, I'm depleted. Right? So it's recognizing like I'm just living my values. I'm doing my thing, and recognizing that I don't know, that when you brought that up, it like triggered me. Like I remember being in a place when my children were much younger where I really did feel like I needed to like care about everything and know about everything and like be informed about everything and do what everybody else was telling me was the right thing to do because they were like they read an article about it or whatever. It was exhausting. And when I just started recognizing what feels good to me, guess what? What feels good to me is also aligned with my core values. It's also aligned with what I'm about, who I am and what I stand for. And oh man, did life get easier? And I got to tell you, like I let go of doing some things that maybe they'll come back in my life. It's not like I don't think that they're good or important, or like I don't compost, you guys. I don't compost. I don't. Just letting you know. Right? But it freed me up, like not stressing about the shoulds and like living my values and doing. It's not that I don't care. It's just recognizing like, oh, what do I really care about? What really matters to me? Well, that shit fills me up. I'm sure there's more of a point, but that's the end of my sentence.
Well, I don't think we can have this conversation without going to worthiness too.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the reason why people want to help is because, and make this their priority in life, their passion to help, to save, is because they don't feel worthy enough on their own. Your worthiness doesn't come from you saving and helping people. Your worthiness is that you exist, that you are here, that you are a being of source, that you are a being of love, that you're here, warts and all. There's nothing you need to change about yourself or fix about yourself or save about yourself in order to be worthy. So when you have that foundation of I'm a worthy being, I'm worthy of having a great life, regardless of what I give to the world, then how much more likely are you to be actually helpful to the world? A whole lot. Because you're not trying to fill a well of unworthiness.
That's what I was going to say, is you're worthy of a lot of money. Whether or not, whatever the rest of that sentence was that you said, what you have to offer the world.
Yeah, like, this idea that you become worthy of having nice things because of what you do for the world is backwards, right?
Yes. Oh, that is the trigger point for me that I didn't realize was like we've been dancing around this whole conversation. Yes, I like hate it. I hate it when people say like I want to serve the world in a big way. Like I want to make a lot of money so that I can serve the world in a big way. That triggers me. Triggers me so much. And I know it comes from a really good place. But I'm like, dude, you're worthy and deserving of a lot of money. End of sentence. If you want to serve the world in a big way, be more of yourself. Do that shit. But I don't know. There's something about the attachment that really ties me in a knot. Right? Because I think there's this belief that I'm only worthy of a lot of money if I'm cleaning up the ocean.
Yeah. I had this one friend back in the day who used to say to me, like, she should have Oprah's money because she would do a lot of good with it. And it's like, Sure, maybe, but it doesn't that's not why you get Oprah's money. You get Oprah's money because you are full of yourself and you are doing what you lights you up and you are passionate and you are right like so where do we wrap this up? Where do we go from here? Because I don't want to convince you to be yourself in order to have what you want, right? Like I want to be I want to be this. I want to be this. And I want to talk about that. I want to talk about how this journey of going within of making decisions based on what lights me up, what do I want to do, what am I curious about, has led me in directions that I never ever thought I would go. I When I was younger, sure, I thought my life was a movie. Sure, I thought my life was a show, but I never thought I would be the one making it. Up until 2 years ago, I was just going to sell the idea. I never thought I would be in entertainment ever. That is the one thing I knew I would never want to be in. I'm not an entertainer. I'm not a performer. I'm not, right? Which should give you a big clue that that is exactly where I'm going. But it's because I love myself enough to be open to something I was so closed off about before that I'm actually going here and finding my greatest joy in it, right? It's it's the coming back to marketing and sharing because it's what I love to do and not because it's what I think I have to do to have a business that is helping me to succeed so much and share my journey and message with so many more people, right? It's the love of intuitive art that has allowed it to go out to tens of thousands of people all over the world and bring in lovely emails of like, oh my God, you changed my life all the time. And it's it's all of those things. It's having enough confidence in being me that I don't work full time and that I do have all the time in the world to go hiking and skiing and painting and traveling and like if I didn't feel worthy of this life, I couldn't have this life. So your major work if you want to save the world is to save yourself from feeling unworthy of having what you want, right? Like there's Julie, I love you. Change the world by fully embodying yourself, living your gifts and living in alignment. And it takes presence to do that. It takes intention to live your fully embodied self because it never stops. You don't just be like, oh, I'm fully embodied. The next moment, there's more to embody. Our capacity is always growing to be ourselves. And your truth changes in every moment. And being current and up to speed with yourself, I feel, is the hardest thing that I do. That is the hardest work that I do coming up to speed with myself. That is what my friends help me with the most. When I'm like, Carrie, I don't know what I'm doing. And she's like, you were already there. Just open your eyes. That's what I did for her today. Like, look around you. You're already doing these amazing things in so many areas and so many people's businesses and lives. Like, we don't see it because we aren't used to looking at ourselves like that. But that is really the key, to be able to see yourself clearly. That is the hardest part of all of this, but that is what makes this so worthwhile.
And I think that worthiness piece, Rachel, like there is a distinction between worthiness and enoughness. There is a distinction, but I'm going to use enoughness because that's what I needed today. Like, that's what I needed, is to remember, like, hey, it's enough. You're enough. It's enough to be you. And you are worthy and deserving of everything that you've asked for. And if you look around, you can see that it's actually already coming to you, that you actually already have it. Yeah. So I just wanted to say that, like, and about your never. Right. I will never do that. You guys, how many times have I said never? And like I told my husband I would never go out with him again. I married that guy. Right? Like I would like our never like maybe that's a place that we could open up a little bit, that we have fear or shame or like whatever we have around, and just relax around it. And I did a drawing today for my runners, and it was about how can they have their best race on Saturday. But guess what the answer was? Relax, surrender, be in alignment. It was be your fully embodied self. There were some other good nuggets in there, right? But like, that's the answer to everything. Is the answer to everything is know that you're enough.
Yeah.
Know that you are worthy. Go ahead, be courageous enough to step into your worthiness, to believe.
Last December, I told Carrie, I don't want to try anymore. I'm giving up trying. And I was already trying only this much, right? Like I've been doing this for a long time. And she's like, great, excellent. I'm so glad to hear that. And I've never tried less in my entire life. I've never marketed less. I've never tried to convince less. I've never just stepped out of the whole thing pretty much. And this year I've doubled my income over last year. And this year, in the beginning of the year, I was like, I'm going to be a full-time writer this year. My business is more than part-time. And that's also what I've done this year. And I've still doubled my income. And I just want you to know that like this works. Like trying just gets in the way. Trying is like trying to force your mind to come up with a plan because you're not trusting yourself. And it's okay to go gradually. Like I'm not saying to just, quit your job, drop everything, do the thing that you want to go do, like use your last $50 to get a plane ticket somewhere. Like, no. Do what feels good. So like have a part-time job if you need it, have a full-time job and do your own thing on the side. Like build up gradually in the area that you want to go in because you want to feel comfortable along the journey as much as possible. I'm not a believer of you have to do the thing that you're most afraid of in order to get anywhere. No, sometimes I do things that are scary, but usually I'm surrounded by such a thick cocoon of resources and comfort that it's not really the end of the world, right? So I'm just saying this to you because eventually you probably will be in a place where things are really cushy and they get cushier and they get less relatable, honestly. And that's okay. Like you're on this journey to have it all. And that's not something that most people think they can have. So they're not even aware of this path. You're here, you're aware of this path, you're ready for this path in whatever way that you are starting or have started. Like, I guess don't worry about what other people think of you because it's none of their business. It doesn't matter. And also pay attention to yourself and keep going for what you want because you're going to get it. Like if you're going for something that you want and you're on this path and you're relaxed and you're taking care of yourself, it's going to come to you and it's going to be awesome.
Yeah. That's all. I just want to thank you for this, Rachel. This whole conversation has just reminded me of the truth, which is why I love having these. Oh, I think I have to sign for a package right now. So this might be the perfect time for me to sign off. But yeah, it just reminded me of the truth. So thank you.
You're welcome. All right. Well, we love you. We'll see you next week.
Bye, guys.
I'll stick around for another minute or two, everybody, because Zach has a good question. Harder to explain or harder to relate to? Both, I would say. I mean, I think not very many people understand me, understand my life, understand my process. My boyfriend for sure has no idea how to explain me, how to explain what I do, how I do it, which is totally fine with me. It can be harder to explain because, right, if I'm here and if I'm trying to explain to someone here, they're going to get it. Carrie gets me. Carrie gets it. But if I'm trying to explain to someone who is down there, they're not going to get it. I didn't get it when I was down there and people were trying to explain to me. So, yeah, both.
Hey, guess what? It wasn't a package.
Oh, yay.
It was my husband coming home from work. So now he can get the package and I don't have to worry about it.
Nice.
And yes, I got to tell you that is the thing, right? That's the convincing or the explaining, right? People who are going to relate to you are going to relate to you. I have been told my whole life that I am super relatable. And yet I no longer relate to the people who used to relate to me. Like, it's just a whole new group of people who are relating to me. So I hope that's helpful. You're relatable from where you are.
Whereas I have been told my whole life I am unrelatable or untouchable or unattainable or whatever. Like for some reason people have always, and I think it's more my personality because you are more outwardly friendly than I think I probably am. So I might seem like this weird person over on a shelf somewhere.
Well, we can have a whole conversation.
I'm fine with, by the way.
Well, we can have a whole conversation around that because I remember you saying, I don't remember when you said this, but you said people recognized the ascended master in you and that was like sort of hard to own. And like, not a lot of people relate to being an ascended master, right? Like there's that. But I will just call BS because everyone who is here because they're resonating with something in you and something that you're saying. And so it is both, right? That's what brings us to you, is that we can, and all of us to each other, but like you in particular, Rachel, is that you are the beacon. You are, right, the ascended master. And you draw picture diagrams that we can relate to.
And I am always just still trying to figure it out. So
yeah. But this is just a little behind the scenes of Carrie and Rachel land. This was so long ago. This was maybe when you were still playing by the game of doing it the guru way and like trying to figure it out. But you were finding your way within this like guru marketing system. And you made a coloring book. Do you remember that?
Mm-hmm.
And because I just knew you and loved you and resonated with you, like I thought it was the best thing ever. I was like, this is the greatest. Yes, I'm going to get that coloring book. Yes, I'm going to fill it. I'm going to do everything that it tells me to, like, yes. And I remember you're like, is this lame? Is this too unprofessional? Is this like, and I was like, no, it's super relatable. It's amazing. So I don't know why I told that story now, but there you go. A little bit of Rachel's journey.
Yeah. Basically what we're saying, you can trust yourself and you are worthy of having everything you want. You don't need to earn that by serving the world and saving the world. Good news all around.
Wow, so, what a relief.
I would love to know, I know there's a little bit of a lag and we're almost done, but like, how did this hit you today? Did you already know this? Are you excited by this? Do you feel liberated? Do you feel burdened? Like what's your takeaway from today? And is there anything else you want us to talk about? I just come up with these basically every week on my own. If there's ever anything you want us to talk about, let us know. I love it, Zach. Zach is giving us, seems to be a happy face. Yes.
Julie,
I'm not wearing my glasses, so sometimes I think it's like the happy face with the straight across, but it's not. She's smiling.
It is one of these. So all good. Oh, check out my racing stripes. You guys get to
I like it.
Corinne just says yes, just yes. Yes. Guys, I come here just for that. just to like be in the yesness.
Oh, where was it going? My chat keeps moving.
Oh, Dina. There's a whole conversation. We have not had our goals conversation in a really long time, Rachel. But yes, Dina, there's a whole conversation there we're not telling you to set money goals.
No. I don't personally respond well to money goals. Some people do. Carrie and I were just talking earlier about there were a couple people on this other team that she works with who are all about the numbers, all about the money goals, which is great.
Yeah, they love it. They thrive on it.
It's great. All right. Well, we love you guys. Thank you so much for your feedback. I appreciate it. And and Julie says she knew it. Just good to be reminded of it. Yeah. That's what I love too, is I love reminding myself. I love reminding other people by way of that. So thanks for being here. We love you guys, and we'll see you next week. And hopefully in an hour and a half at our holiday party. Come on down. All right. Bye.
The real goodbye.